Good enough. Well, we haven't done one of these videos in a while where we go out and just walk. Starting in front of my old junior high school, Gallagher, May A. Gallagher, or as the Bostonian accented people would call it, Galaga, which happens to also be a name of an arcade game. I've even posted, oh, aren't we impressed? Not really. Anyway, I posted a joke on the local news groups that showed the Galaga logo for the arcade game, and underneath it, a picture of Gallagher. You'd be surprised how no one got the joke. I mean, people my age should have got the joke. Because people my age were the last of the people to graduate from there, within a few years, that is. I think it was like a 5-year difference. I graduated there in 87. It closed in 90 or 91, I forget what. So, we haven't done one of these walking videos in a while, so let's just do that. We're going to walk to the very first... We're going to go to the very first subject that ever was recorded on this channel, and that is the Carter Building, for which now we are going to. Back when I first recorded it, all the windows, except for the... Actually, yeah, all the windows were completely wide open, smashed out. I zoomed into the broken windows to see what things looked like. I was no way in hell going in. And from what I've heard from people that have been in there, you would have been incredibly stupid to have gone in, because most of the building has caved in, especially now. In fact, the people renovating it bought it without seeing the third floor or the attic, because all the stairwells apparently have collapsed in. Second floor. I think there were quite a few second floor areas that weren't safe either. So basement, yeah, kind of. First floor, kind of. Second floor, not so much. Third floor, forget about it. Attic, don't even think of it. So, I know that we are in the public domain, so I could record anyone and anything. But, unless he appears in frame, there's a guy that when I started doing this was pretty much side by side on the opposite side of the street, which he still is, and looked a little weird at me, because, hey, nobody records videos, especially live ones. Haha, funny from Valera V. Not sure what that's about. It's kind of an oddball time, so not many people might be watching or caring. Usually get the views when it's live bowling, which I bet you can tell from me doing this is not happening this week, because one, my buddy Chris was unable to bowl. He was able to at 10 o'clock, but I had to work today. And second of all, I kinda sort of tweaked my back a little bit at work. Not very bad. It's feeling a lot better now. It complains a little bit here and there. I just didn't want to take the chance, even though it was on the left side and I bowl right-handed, so it wouldn't have really mattered. And of course we hit the red light. Welcome to my world. And no one's here. And if the picture's jiggling too much, there's no image stabilization, because it just doesn't work that way. And if things appear a little hazy, I can't do anything about that, because instead of the good camera, YouTube references the wide angle, which is the lesser of the two on the front, and the glass is scratched up, so yeah, nothing I can do about that. So we're just out for a little walk. On very uneven and poorly maintained sidewalks. Here comes another safety hazard right here. Alley-oop. Big drop. Some other street. It might not look it, but that's a Victorian era building right there. It's currently a Honey Farms mini mart convenience store. Used to be a grocery store, I believe. Yeah, before they renovated the back rooms, it actually had the Victorian beadboard, the rosetted windows, and everything like that. And over there is Family Pizza that's been shut down several years ago. Board of Health violations, if I heard correctly. Back when I was a kid, my father actually worked there. So when we got pizza, it was usually from them, and it wasn't bad. Alright, that's the last street we're crossing before we hit Hall Street, where the west side of the Carter building is located. Blossom and Merriam Ave was the other end, the one where both of them are located. And this brown house, nice to learn Leominster history, says Sam Sitar. Uh-oh. Oh, that's just landscaping equipment. I thought I was hitting copyright territory. This brown house apparently is being worked on. Some of the windows are covered, and there's a building permit on there. Yeah, the whole first floor is all covered up. Second one's kind of open. I would hate to have been the tenants on the second floor. I think that was a two-tenant, because I would hate to be thrown out because we're fixing the place up. Anyway, we're probably like 500 feet or so from Hall Street, where the Carter building will be easily visible. And where I am now, you can kind of see it through the trees and the houses here on the left. Let's aim that way. Yeah, you can. I can kind of see it. It was in and out. I did see it somewhat in the viewfinder. I wonder how the signal's doing. Halfway decent. Actually, I must have seen something else. Might have been the roof of the housing project that's behind it. We'll look there again. In between this dark blue house here and this white one. And kind of see this housing development there. Okay, now we can see the building. It's right there. The reddish mass in the middle. Provided it looks like brick red. We never know with YouTube compression. Now we're not going to see much of anything. Wait a minute. Oh, well, not worth showing. I thought I saw them. They had stuff on top of the building because maybe they started putting a roof on. Funny thing is, from what I've understood, most of the building inside has collapsed, but the roof for the most part hasn't. Must have been a truss-built roof. Trusses. It's odd that most of the interior fell in, but the roof is, albeit bent every which way from the weight of snow and weakening over time, still intact. Outside of, actually, one piece where one of the stairwells was. Yeah, I've been here a few weeks ago, and I did a video segment on the Carter building. As you know, I do construction videos, and this is definitely one of them. And it doesn't seem to look any different from when it was recorded a few weeks ago. But that might be different. Now, we'll take a walk through this park. Okay, there aren't any kids, so that's good. Anyway, this park was actually the football field for what was then Leominster High School. In we go. So this was the football field that they played on until 1931, in which Doyle Field was, well, earlier than that, Doyle Field was built and opened to the public. So there's the Carter building, which I have officially put in some interest in the possibility of winning a lottery to get one of the apartments in here. Steve about Gauntlet. Happy Side George. Hope you're having a great day, says Chris Allen. Not a bad day. Now, there used to be a banking that went gently up. There was a stairwell right in the middle there. That's all gone, so they backfilled it in and put in this retaining wall to obtain more parking space. Stevie, what's the temp? At last check, it's a balmy 51, and for December it is. If the sun was out, I would be walking in a short sleeve shirt right now. But anyway, they're supposed to get rid of that chimney because it's literally collapsing in. It's lost about a foot just in this year alone. So until 1930, or maybe early parts of 31, not sure, this was the football field for what was then Leominster High School. When the new high school was built further down the hill that way, it opened in 64. This became Carter Junior High. And it was 64 to 84 that this was a junior high school. And for a couple more years, the school offices were residing in there, and I used to run errands for my parents going in and out, so I've been in the building when it was legal. In fact, to the best of my abilities, keeping in mind that that's more than 30 years ago, there is a video on my channel called Minecraft Real Tough City Server Carter Junior High School or something like that. It is a replica of this thing, Superstorm 93. And not really, but I do remember Hurricane Gloria, which barely even was a hurricane, even though we were on what I call the wrong side of the storm, the side you don't want to be on. It didn't even hit hurricane force, and we were on the strong side. Then there was Hurricane Bob in 91. We were on the right side of the storm where it wasn't. We were on the weak side and the winds went up to 71. Those that were on the wrong side got some gusts over 120. So here it is. It doesn't look any more different than what I have in a video clip I shot a few weeks ago. That's the boiler room. They're planning to make that storage and utilities. And it used to be, I showed it in that clip that I was mentioning, that if you looked, I went too far and I'm not going to go too much further than this. Yeah, it used to be in that crack, you could see the sky. So, funny thing is, the roof line is still all chopped up, because where the brick's all uneven, if it's showing up, that's where the joists were for the roof. So they're either putting a new one on right now, or I'm just hitting it at the wrong angles. And on the other side of the hill, because that goes down behind that diner, is the current high school. And no, we will not go there, because last time I did a couple videos there, they called the cops on me because, well, you know how schools hate the First Amendment. There's some things I haven't seen. Well, we got some rebar here. It's probably for the elevator shaft. Some square tubular steel, some more iron. Do you have a video of that when they called the cops? No, it happened after I shot the video. And then the very last video where we just looked at it from afar, I just mentioned what happened. I was about a half mile away from the school when they suddenly called. And I think this is the brick that they recovered from the roof line up there. Because like I said, if it's showing up, it's all chopped up looking, because some of it came out when they removed the joists. Yeah, I think they're actually putting a roof on now that I'm seeing it, because all those bays were empty. Now I see two that are sticking up right there. And you said something, but I need it to pop back up. I remember during a gauntlet when security chased, yes. And then being stupid and never doing that kind of stuff before, I then continued and was being eyed again, but got out of the building before they could do anything. I have spelling issues. Hey, I'm not a good speller either. I guess this is going to be for scaffolding, as I believe they're going to have to use that inside as well. We were scared during the... Yeah, I was scared because then everywhere I went, the shop owners and the people in Sears, which was the last bit, they were all watching me, so that was kind of a hint that there was probably some crappy version of a be on the lookout. And oh, I can see daylight. I can see into the building. Wow, that has really collapsed in. Yeah, it's not going to focus on it. Oh, yeah, I can kind of see the third. They've taken out the stairwells on the back wall because that's what that is. Yeah, there's nothing there. Wondering when they were going to get to a point now. Let's see if I can zoom out. Yeah, we can zoom out. We can zoom out. Okay, camera, we can zoom out. Alright. Okay, that's about right. Yeah, I got to do another update because you can actually see in the building. Should go back and do another gauntlet. Yeah, I pretty much, for the most part, stopped doing those. Not saying I won't do them again. Yeah, apparently they're down to the second floor, so they probably don't have the roof, and those are the old joists that we were looking at. Because when I was here a few weeks ago, we couldn't see that stuff. It almost looks the same from the outside. So I think they're getting ready to completely tear into this building. There's the scaffolding that I'm not aiming towards because I'm watching where I'm going. Silly me. Because this is very uneven ground. Oh, there's daylight through the second floor window. So they have gutted it. That's interesting. Yeah, I gotta come back with my better camera. So they have a brick shell for the auditorium section and the third floor there. We're powering out another gauntlet video. Yeah, that was the gauntlet at the Natick Mall, which is now the Natick. Well, it was the Natick Collection when I went. There's daylight there. And I think they probably have gutted it down to the first floor. Because you couldn't see anything through that. And now we can definitely see light in there. Do I know why the power went out there? No, I don't. All I know is it went out, went back in. A few of the escalators were junk. And funny thing was, if you remember the video, I was on an elevator like maybe 10 or 15 seconds earlier. They were asking if anybody was in the elevator. I just got out of. Alright, now I'm interested, so I gotta go and take a look. Oh, they boarded up that window. So now we can't see anything there. Like I said, since we're in the neighborhood, let's take a look and see what we can see. Now that things have got interesting and we can see or not see anything. So yeah, they have a brick wall that... I'll show you this side again. A brick wall that is structure for the auditorium, which is the bump out there. Do I have this too far out? Yeah, that bump out right there is the auditorium. Let me just check something. Yeah, it might be a hair. Okay. Too little. Can't win with this thing. Alright, there we go. Good enough. Yeah, that's the auditorium, those 2 floors. I have no idea what the 3rd floor was. And the 1st floor, that was the quote-unquote gymnasium. It was kind of comical because you couldn't throw a basketball in there because the ceilings were too low. And the headboards literally, the backboards, I mean, literally were up against the ceiling more or less. And you had big steel beams that took another foot and a half to support the floor of the auditorium itself. Yes, I do talk, Stevie, I do either talk over the music or remove the audio altogether because I make a decent amount of money on these videos and I can't afford to get strikes. When you get strikes and suddenly a car appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, we're going a bit fast, aren't we? Yeah, there's sizable progress there. And loud music, which we're going to talk over just to prove a point. It makes it much harder for Content ID to identify the music. Sometimes you add just enough extra noise in, it won't recognize it. But in my Disney World All-Star Movies Resort review, the drown-out music is a case where no matter what you did, it wasn't enough. So there's a section of that video where the audio was unfortunately had to be muted out post-production through YouTube because it landed a copyright match. But the thing is, Disney, if they ever do that to people, they're not copyright strike monsters, so if you get a claim, it's not going to ruin your channel, and they're just going to take over the ad revenue that's on the videos. But I need those ads. I need that revenue. But I'm not greedy like a lot of other people on YouTube that are sprinkling ads partway through the videos, and a lot of them are going into the full-blown stop the video, show an ad type pauses, which I cannot stand. Either the 10-second ad pops up in the bottom, or the one-shot ad appears at the very beginning. That is what I do. I don't go through the video and throw in a bunch of stop points to stop the video and put in another ad. I think that's, as I have referred to it on people's videos that do it, I refer to it as ad whoring. And you wonder how they make their money. There's a thing called doing it the right way. Maybe if they do it once, twice if the video is long enough, and I'm talking like an hour or so, I could see that. There's videos that have been like 10 minutes long and they have three stoppages in it for ads, and I don't like that. My voice is not holding up. Alright, Jack said something, and I find it amazing that Disney is a copyright strike monster based on how much they are buying, and be shocked if they become one in the future. From what I understand, they don't become a copyright strike monster because they kind of get it. That's fake, but boy, do I like how that looks. This is zoomed in again. Yeah, that's about okay. It is so hard to set the zoom on this phone. You just barely touch the screen and suddenly you're looking at, suddenly you can see molecules. Then if you go the other way, suddenly the whole Earth is this big. But any places, Stevie said, were there any places that are haunted in that town? Here? Quite a few. I don't know about the old high school / Carter Junior High. If I get an apartment there, if I win the lottery, I'm gonna find that one out. But from what I understand, the likelihood is very slim, because when they have these lotteries, I've heard for the other building they just finished that for every one apartment, there's 4 people applying for it. The one thing that's going for me if they do a check on people is in spite of not being able to afford anything better than a low-income housing type apartment, my credit score is extremely high. I'll just say that if my credit score starts with a 7, something went horribly wrong. Now, this was a famous place. I mean, not famous. It's from the 1700s, and I guess they totally screwed up the appearance. It's all wrong. It's all modern. They modernized a 1700s building. It just doesn't look right at all. Wait a minute, let's check the zoom. Yeah, zoom's okay. It's been changing on me a lot. Sometimes when I don't want it to, and other times when I want it to, it won't go. Wow. The battery does not like using the mobile towers, but I also couldn't get a full charge. Went to the laundromat after I came home from work. Got the charge up to 93%. Now it's at 36. Do you watch Jeopardy? I used to watch it. Then it got old. And then a few years ago I tried to get into it again, and no, I just can't. Plus, I don't know if you noticed, but when I have watched it, I've noticed that the contestants seem to be a bit dumber. Still would blow me through the water, but there were some questions even I could get that they weren't getting. It seems that they were somewhat heading towards the Will Ferrell Jeopardy skits in terms of the difficulty. You have a community access channel in my town? Yes, we do. It's called Leominster Access Television. Oh, and speaking of that, Fitchburg Access Television, for those of you that watch the bowling and are subscribed to King of the Palace, they just uploaded today the first episode of what was recorded on the 1st. And because my channel and work was doing very well, and I have had a lot of extra money, watch me suck at bowling, as Dave Matla calls it, instead of George F551's World of Crap. Anyway, well, actually, he has nothing to do with it, but my channel, for a prize, it was a doubles tournament where two people acted as one, and the team that won the doubles championship. Time to cross the street. This guy's illegal. Too busy on the phone. Public domain. I win. Anyway, we're gonna take a little detour. Show you the other place that Wingate Communities, which will own the Carter Building when it's all done, owns this next place that we're going to, and was just finished like maybe 3 months ago. Afternoon time. Anyway, on the tag team, no, the doubles tournament. Doubles is, like I said, it's different than tag team because the both of you play together as one. So when the winning team gets their championship belt, they play for themselves. They threw one ball, and if the winning person knocks down the most pins with the one ball, that person won a brand new, as if there are any old ones yet, a brand new arcade 1-up Pac-Man cabinet. Oh, Dave was so jealous because he wanted to get one of those for himself. By the way, that's the building we're going to look at. The only reason I'm mentioning it is it's already out there. I didn't mention anything about it, what the prize was. I just mentioned there was a great prize. But now that it's out there on the interwebs to be seen, and that when the night was over and all the competition was over, someone walked away with a brand new arcade 1-up Pac-Man cabinet. And speaking of that, for once, I'm ahead of the curve when it comes to something in the gaming community. Because usually, like, when I do the Cuphead and the Minecraft, it's already popular, everybody's already doing it. Someone on Craft Theory, I think it was Monkey Work, he or somebody posted a picture of these things, and I thought they were pretty cool. So then I looked into it, and I thought, I want one. So I bought one. Best Buy lost it in shipping, so I had to cancel that order and buy another one, which led to a fiasco with Discover Card thinking fraud was committed. Straighten that whole thing out. But I didn't have to wait long, because apparently the one that was lost in transit showed up very early, because before it arrived it still said that the order was being processed. So it skipped a whole bunch of steps. So I got them during the second wave, or second rollout. Does the channel have a bulletin board that plays in between programs? Can we get any closer? Come on. Does the channel have a bulletin board that plays in between programs? Does your channel have a bulletin board? No, it doesn't. It does have a comment sections in the channel. Comment sections. I are good at English. So, anyway, I was talking about Arcade 1-Up. That's why you're seeing kind of me flooding the channel with Arcade 1-Up content, because for the first time, my channel is actually ahead of the curve. In other words, I'm doing something before it's popular, hoping it becomes popular. Because maybe something will actually hit. Because I've looked at videos, and it's surprising that there aren't really that many content makers. Because find an Arcade 1-Up video, click on it, play it. Maybe there's one or two more videos, and then if you watch any of those, the links dry up. So there isn't a lot of content for Arcade 1-Up. And I'm trying to post a bunch of it, so when the Christmas holiday comes up and everybody has their cabinets, starts uploading videos, I'll have a fair share of the average Joe department, and maybe I can get several hundred or 1,000 views a pop. Kind of the Andrew Reams light of Arcade 1-Up. Of course, there are a bunch of arcade, retro video game celebrities and what have not that are doing this stuff, or got in really early so they have the exposure. I'm not that lucky. But in terms of content, I'm ahead of the curve. Just wish it would reflect that. And yeah, the battery's getting really, really low. We might make it back downtown. Yeah, this battery doesn't do as well as it used to. And a fire truck. And another fire truck. That can't be good. Oh, this company's got a new thing here. Have you ever been to New York City? Yes. There's a couple of, there's videos from there. Well, it's not from this area. These fire trucks. Oh, that's odd. Wonder why they could have just went up they just could have went up Pleasant Street. Anyway, here's two of the buildings. That's a Wingate. 2011 was the year that I was in New York City. This was an abandoned Tom McCann warehouse, and apparently the condition was so bad the floors were falling in. There was a big mill building, one-story mill building that was where his parking lot was. That was torn down. Then this thing was left abandoned. Then another person took the whole thing over and redid it. That's an office building there. This is the other Wingate property, which Carter Building is also owned by Wingate. Wish for a day to film elevators in New York. I was there for a day. I met Jack Dries said. New York City used to... Yeah, we all know that. And when I was on the Empire State Building, needless to say, the southern side of the building had a ginormous crowd watching the Freedom Tower being built. I think they were up to like 30 floors in the steel. That's the Ivory Key Apartments. This was a dilapidated, run-down, condemned building, falling apart, falling in on itself. Holy crap! they actually finished this building. This building started several years before this one, and this one got finished. I don't know what happened, but I'm just making sure I'm not looking in anyone's apartments. But there was a section here that they never finished the wall. They finally did. They finally put in the curbing. It smells like it's perfectly legal in Massachusetts now. And I'm sure some of you understand what I'm saying. Because it is that kind of neighborhood. Have you ever... Oh yeah, we've had earthquakes here. Apparently there was a 5-point something that hit here when I was a little kid. I don't remember it because I just remember waking up and my father running through the house saying, "Is everyone okay? Is everyone okay?" And everybody is. And we're all like, did something happen? And it was on the news right at that time. So that was the biggest one that I've been through but haven't really witnessed in clarity. I think the biggest one I've witnessed in clarity, hello Rachel, biggest one I've witnessed and remember was, it was only like maybe 2.5 or a 3. We lived in a split level home at the time, so the first floor was open front to back. I was sitting in the dining room. There was just this loud roar. Then the house shook, and the funny thing was you could see the middle of the floor vibrating up and down where the lally column was. It was just weird. Then there was one... There was definitely one when I was in high school, but apparently it was so short no one ever noticed or reported it. Heard a rumble. No, I heard a roar. Building shook, and then it all stopped. Wasn't much. It was enough that, yeah, you could hear the ventilation rattling a little bit. That was about all it was. Couldn't have been anything minor, thank goodness. I mean, couldn't have been anything major, thank goodness. Let's be clear on that. We don't want anything bad. When the firefighters show up, we don't want anything bad happening. I don't hear the ambulance, so it's probably verifying that, thank goodness, not too bad. Go ahead. Ooh, batteries at critical now. So we're going to head right downtown Leominster and call it good. One thing I like about was there an earthquake? There was one August 23rd, I don't know where. I think it was New Hampshire. Wasn't big enough to be felt here. Now we're heading back to the land of no reception. Although I think we'll be on the end of reception that's halfway decent. So what I also plan on doing today is later on, I'm talking later at night, is I haven't done a live arcade one-up of the Galaga cabinet, so I figure I might as well do that. I've got 4 videos coming from the Atari 12-in-1. I was looking at most popular games that were watched. The ones that got the most views I did another video of. And I'm thinking of giving a proper 60 frame per second video of Galaxian as well. I probably might record that before I do the live stream. Yeah, I had this weird thing happen with the original videos where, one, I had to I put the camcorder on the tripod and I had to rotate it vertically to get it in screen. Then on top of that, I rotated the video so that it was vertical in the editor, and then stretched it out so that the screen on the cabinet filled up from top to bottom. And somehow when I did that, no idea why, even when I made it a 60 frame per second video, it was only 30. Half the frames got lost from doing all that all that rotating and stretching. So I used the phone, which I know the camera has a scratch, got a scratch surface, so there's a streak that appears when I record stuff. But yeah, that's the way I can do it. I'm gonna call it done because this battery is about to call it done. We are only at 9%. That'll be it. See what the Carter building looked like. Quite a bit of change, quite a bit of guts removed. George F551 saying, hope you enjoyed and have a good one.